Hey everybody, what's up? Normally I'm really behind on the news and stuff, and everybody else has already done a video about this crap, but for once it looks like not a ton of people have done it yet, so I'm gonna get on this on time for once. We're gonna talk about the new spells in Total Warhammer 3. Whee! That was an article that just came out. I haven't read this before. Jeremy posted it on my Discord, and I just looked at it and I was like, huh, this came out today. I could probably actually do a video on it. So let's just do it. Try to keep the video time down. Yada yada. Creative Assembly wants to tell us a bunch of stuff. Lore of Tzeentch. A lot of Tzeentches in here. Blue Fire of Tzeentch with a twist of the hand. Spellcaster causes the bodies of the opponents to be consumed by flames. Single target magic missile. Applies the Warp Flame debuff. Increasing fire damage received. Okay. That seems fine. I'm guessing he has a lot of fire damage in his roster if one of his basic missile spells applies it, the weakness. Otherwise, that's kind of dumb. So I'm going to assume he has a lot of fire damage. Seems fine. Pink fires each breath. Rolling Tide of Flames. Cool. Conal damage spell, inflicting the Warp Flame. More Warp Flame. Overcast version be a bonus damage. Yeah, it's fine. Kind of like a Wind Blast effect, but with weakness to fire attached to it. Treason of Tzeentch area. Lowers the leadership of all enemies in the area. Overcast lowers melee attacks. It's kind of Doom and Darkness. That's pretty fine. Glean magic. Increases your army's power, recharge speed, and reserves pool while decreasing the enemies. Overcast version lasts longer. Huh. I'm nervous about that one. Because spending Winds of Magic to gain Winds of Magic didn't work for the Dark Elves at all. So I'm curious if that'll actually work out in any way. Because you'd have to do the Overcast version would get you more mana than you lost casting it. Because you're also risking your health at that point if you miscast. So they have to be very careful in the math for that one to make it worthwhile. Tzeentch's Firestorm Vortex. 3 pillars of flame move randomly around the target area, dealing damage and applying Warp Flame. Overcast version increases armor piercing damage. Okay. Vortex spells are interesting. They're good in campaign, a little less so in multiplayer usually, just because consistency is a little more valued. I'm curious about the 3 pillars of flame. It's the target area. Okay, so the area doesn't necessarily move, just the vortexes within them. That could be better than a traditional vortex. That's interesting. That's cool. And more warp flame. So like, there's a ton of warp flame here. Interesting stuff. I'm curious how that'll match up, because if you think of like Blue Fire of Tzeentch sounds kind of like Vindictive Glare for the greenskins, but it also applies this big debuff. So I wonder if it's going to cost more Winds of Magic or something. Curious how they'll balance that. Infernal Gateway. Portal to the Realm of Chaos. Magical Terror in the Water Plane that sucks us nearby. Massive stationary area effects. It's kind of like Pit of Shades. Overcast version deals increased armor piercing. No warp flame on that one, so that's fine. It's a good lore of magic. Not a lot of buffs. A couple debuffs, but mostly damage for Tzeentch. So it looks like that's a pretty damage-focused lore. It's my kind of lore. Lore of Slaanesh. Okay. Lash Slaanesh Breath. Exquisite Kiss with Dark Prince's 3-10 Whip. Strikes the enemy with Delicious Fury. Conal damage sends enemies flying. Overcast version deals increased armor piercing. The enemy's flying bit is interesting. I wonder if it'll be janky like model to model. Like it sends rat ogres flying, but doesn't send crocscores flying, or it sends infantry, but not monstrous infantry, or where do ogres fall into that? So I'll be interested to see if they spaghetti code the shit out of that one. Acquiescence. Decreases speed and melee defense of target unit. Overcast version has a large effect on speed. That's pretty good. That's usually a good spell. Slows and melee defense are 2 very important stats for hexes, so that'll be a good hex. Hysterical Frenzy buffs the armor piercing weapon damage and melee attack of target unit, as well as giving them the Rampage attribute. Overcast version further increases armor piercing weapon damage. That seems good on paper. Its Winds of Magic cost will definitely be the deciding factor whether or not it's used in multiplayer. Because if it's cheap, then people might take it. But if it's like 7 or 8 winds of magic, I doubt people will take it. Vein of Slanesh, direct damage. Hey, it's the first direct damage spell. Deals damage over time, reducing the melee attack of target unit. Overcast version increases duration. Kind of like a Spirit Leech, but with melee attack. Or more like a Melkoth's, but instead of the speed debuff, it's melee attack debuff. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Slicing Shards Bombardment. Bards an area with damage from deadly exploding glass shards. Overcast version deals increased damage. Straightforward. I like it. It's fine. Kind of like Searing Doom. Phantasmagoria. Reduces the leadership and prevents movements of all units in an area. Overcast version lasts longer. That's interesting. So you're going to route them, but then also net them. It's probably going to be a good spell. Depends on how expensive it is. But it's AoE too, so AoE net's going to be super good. Lore of Nurgle. Miasma of Pestilence. Target unit has reduced melee attack and charge bonus. Overcast version changes this to all units in the target area. Again, that one's going to depend on how expensive it is, whether or not people want to take it. Stream of Corruption, Breath, Long Thin Cone, leaves a trail of poison. Plus poison to all enemy hits. Overcast version deals more damage. That's just going to be like Scorch from the Skaven. But it looks like it has like area damage left behind, so that'll be cool. I don't think we have spells like that in the game right now. I'm trying to think. I mean, like Dwellers, kind of, but anyway. Curse of the Leper, Augment. Adds armor and damage reflection to a unit. Ooh. Overcast version increases both damage reflection is really interesting. That could be super good. That'll be interesting. So far, I'm very excited about this lore. Rancid Visitations. Dealing damage all the while. Overcast version lasts longer, so it's kind of a weird Spirit Leech thing. That's fine. Creates massive Blight Boil. Massive explosion in target area after short delay. Overcast version deals more damage. It's like Lord Croak's spell. Pretty good. Greatly replenishes the hit points of target unit. Overcast version changes units within target area. Oh, so it's AoE. Okay, I think the Lore of Nurgle is my favorite so far. No Lore of Khorne? What is this? It's like he hates magic or something. Lore of Nurgle is my favorite so far, though. It's super good. Lore of Yin. Storm of Shadows Hex. Greatly reduces the speed of a target unit. Overcast version changes units to the target area. Okay, so it's a bit a little slow. Cloak of Jet. Target gains Stalk, Snipe, and Unspottable. Overcast increases duration. Blossom Wind, calm damage spell that also inflicts blinded. Overcast version deals additional piercing damage. I'm kind of flying through these because I'm curious of something. Missile Mirror, target unit projectiles are reflected back in duration. Overcast units longer. Keeping users safe from harm. Talons of the Night, Vortex. Large persistent damage and Vortex spell. Deals more damage. Okay. Ancestral Warriors summons. Summons the unit. Ancestral Warriors fight the Ancestral Warriors are a strong halberd infantry unit. They degrade over time. Overcast is a long cast range. I don't think the Lore of Yin is going to be very multiplayer competitive. It's just my immediate thought. Sorry, that's why I was rushing through it, is because as soon as I saw the first 2 spells, I thought I knew where this Lore of Magic was going. It's too specific. Kind of like the same reason you hardly ever see Word of Pain cast for the Dark Elves, when it's like, oh, but it decreases like accuracy, or you know, some of the spells in the Dark Elf lore reduce reload speed and all that stuff, but that shit's never taken because it's just not impactful enough. It's too specific, too niche, and you can't predict going into a battle that niche is going to be fulfilled, and otherwise you're just wasting a bunch of mana. It looks like this whole lore is that kind of stuff. Ancestral Warriors to summon would be the only thing that would always be useful. It depends how expensive that is. Vortex spells aren't usually worth their cost. And then all this mirror, like, blinded crap isn't going to be that useful, in my opinion. So I think this lore would only be taken for Storm of Shadows for Ancestral Warrior Summon. Well, let's see what the Lore of Yang is, because it's probably going to be the more common one. Because I assume Yin and Yang are going to both be on the Cathay roster. Jade Shield, word save, gives unit significant damage resistance. Overcast version increases duration. That's going to be good. Dragon's Breath Cooldown damage spell applies Field of Fire to burn enemies. Don't know what that is. Overcast version deals increased damage, but this might actually be what I was talking to Logic about. Of fire actually getting like a poison wind type effect or something. That or the ground is going to hurt you if you keep standing on it. So that's going to be a good spell. Wall of Wind and Fire, wide, slow-moving wall of fire damage spell. Overcast version adds armor-piercing damage. Burning Head, but slower. If it's slower, it's probably not going to be as useful online, but we'll see. Stone Ground Sands. All units receive extra mass. Ooh, okay, that's new. Changing the mass of a unit in game is going to be very interesting. Leadership and Expert Charge Defense trait. Overcast version affects a wider area. I don't know if that's going to be very relevant in multiplayer. It could be, but it seems like with the mass, leadership, and expert charge defense, that's going to be either small values for everything or a very expensive spell, and the leadership is going to be the only thing that's really that useful online. Might of Heaven and Earth. Imbues the target with flaming magical attacks, increases their melee attack, base weapon damage, armor piercing damage. Overcast version further increases the stats. This is going to be a really good augment. Things that imbue magic damage are taken a lot against factions that kind of have ethereal stuff or generating stuff or anything. Constellation of the Dragon, Explosion. Great Explosion deals large damage in a big area. Overcast version deals more armor piercing damage. Yeah, the Lore of Yang is 100% going to be way more competitive online than that other one. Just so many of these spells look good. So many of them are going to be good in so many situations that the Lore of Yang will just outperform the Lore of Yin in almost every situation. Lore of Ice. Alright, so this is the Kislev one. I'm excited about this one. All enemy units that enter an area have reduced speed and charge speed. That could be okay. I have doubts, but that could be okay. Ice Maiden's Kiss. Short, wide conal attack that deals damage and applies frostbite. Overcast version increased damage. That could be okay depending on the damage it deals, but it's probably not worth just the frostbite. Also, there's a lot of cone attacks in this one. I'm noticing that. More than Total Warhammer 2. So what do we have? Wind Blast, Pestilent Breath, and I think that's it for like the ones I could think of offhand. There's some other cone ones, but like almost every lore has a cone in this one. All right, what was it doing? Frost Blades. Abuse a unit of magical attacks, increase weapon damage or increase damage and melee attack. Okay, so the exact same thing as the Might of Heaven and Earth. Overcast version, increase all these. That's going to be super good. Death Frost deals direct damage. Overcast version deals greater damage. So Spirit Leech kind of thing, except more damage. Increase the Sanctuary. Target unit cannot move, but its mass is increased damage resistance. Overcast version changes to all units in target area. That could be good situationally. Situationally could be good. Like if you're facing Wood Elves, you get Arrows of Karnas, you can cast that on yourself real quick. Heart of Winter deals damage in an area, slows enemies. Both increasing over time. Overcast version increases values at all stages. Lore of Frost is going to be really good. Really good. Lore of Tempest is going to be confusing as shit. Because there's a spell called Tempest, and it's not in the Lore of Tempest. So that I'm immediately against this, but let's see what it's about. Gust of True Flight. Target unit gets range and accuracy. That's never going to be used. That's never going to be used at all. Hailstorm. Medium area of bombardment with explosive projectiles. Overcast version lasts longer as it has more projectiles. Probably else not going to be used. People could just move out of it, most likely. Competitive multiplayer, obviously. Not talking about campaign. Swiftwing, augment. All units gain speed. Significant charge bonus increase. Overcast version has increased effect area. Kind of useful, but probably not that great. Fighting Wind, long college damage spell. Long column damage spell. Overcast version. So probably more like Burning Head, because when you overcast, just does more damage. Hawks of Miska. Randomly moving vortex that deals damage and applies discouraged to enemies. Overcast version, but it's random. And Blizzard, large damage dealing vortex that also puts Frostbite. Alright, the Lore of Tempest is way weaker than the Lore of Ice. The Lore of Ice is going to be better competitively. Because it's like large damage vortex that deals Frostbite. That's going to cost a lot of wind magic, but it'll be good. Random vortexes are hardly ever good. Biting Wind will be good. Swiftwing is okay, and then these two are useless. So all your spells that matter are going to be really expensive in this lore. On the other lore, like, all of them are pretty good, especially Frostblades and Death Frost. So yeah, Lore of Ice is just going to be better. So, campaign, you can make any lore work in the entire game, because of course you can. So just talking about competitive. Lore of Tzeentch, competitively, it's going to probably be pretty good, probably about an 8 out of 10 because of all the direct damage. Direct damage is always great. Lore of Slaanesh, I remember it being pretty good. I'd say 7 out of 10. 6 or 7 out of 10. It's a lot of like buffs and debuffs, which can be a little meh. I think Lord Nurgle is going to be really good. It's also probably my favorite out of the ones I reviewed today. I'm going to go with 9 out of 10. Has a good amount of stuff. Hexes, augments, breath, direct damage, explosion, regeneration. The explosion is probably the only one that has no niche online. Lore of Yin, I'm honestly going to give this like a 2 or 3 out of 10 for online competitiveness. It's just not, it doesn't give me any of the tools I want to work with. Lore of Yang, a lot of good stuff here. Some of it's a little too situational, like that whole mass leadership at charge defense one. But otherwise, it's pretty good. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 for online competitiveness. It's pretty good. Lore of Ice, I'm going to give it an 8 or a 9 out of 10. A lot of good tools you want, a lot of good things. Lore of Tempest, I'm probably going to give like a 4. I could be argued to get to a 5, but probably a 4. And that's my thoughts. I'm noticing we don't have any Ogre Kingdoms, Lords of Magic, the Lord of the Great Maw, so that's a little upsetting. But whatever, this was a video. Yay! Goodbye forever.